What it do? Welcome to the J-Boy Sports Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you don't love the content, you can still do those things because you can help a brother out, and that's always a good thing to do because I would help you out. Make sure that you comment because ball is life. We need to have some conversations in the comment section. I will definitely reply. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our glorious content. Make sure that you hang on towards the end of this video for some excellent selected and suggested content that we know you will love. Thank you for listening, and let's jump right into this, man. So honestly, I'm being disturbed online because, before I started this channel, there's different people that I follow, and I listen to some people who I also don't necessarily agree with, and I don't say nothing bad about them. I don't want to fight anybody. I'm not out here trying to be an internet thug or nothing like that, but at the end of the day, it is sad to see people who you thought were one way just kind of hypocritically turn in another direction. Without saying names, I'm seeing people specifically that want Giannis to leave. And for full disclosure, I would say Giannis is my favorite player outside of SGA. So he's probably my second favorite player. I really like Giannis. I'd love to meet Giannis in person. I'd love to meet SGA in person. And not on some no weird fan giggity goo-ha stuff. But just to talk to them and see, what I'd love to write a story on their struggles. I went to school for, communication and marketing and stuff like that. That's what I got my bachelor's degree in. And, I'm a really good writer. I used to teach English and stuff like that. So I really enjoy writing. I enjoy telling stories. And this podcasting is the newest wave of that, being able to vocalize and tell different stories. And I'd love to, get their take on certain things, ask them certain questions, and I'd love to write an article on it or do a podcast on it or have them on my podcast and just ask them some questions, some motivations, different things like that. It would be cool, man. It'd be cool. But I'm not geeked out. The only person that really would have geeked me out, honestly, the two people that I enjoy the most, Kobe probably would have geeked me out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have maintained my cool, but I would have really loved to have been able to speak with him and talk to him before his death. Now that's never going to happen. That's why you never should wait on tomorrow for things that you want today. But I really enjoy him. And, another a guy that's really gone, that's disappointing me recently, but I still think there's a good soul in there is Kanye. I'd love to talk to him, and see what's going on. And hopefully we can have a based conversation about what he's going through, why he's saying some of the things that he's saying, why he's taking some of the actions. And for full disclosure, I don't agree with everything about Kanye. I don't. And I think that he's gone down a path that, in my opinion, is definitely dark. But I'm not a cancellation person. I'm not somebody that is unwilling to listen to people and see where they're coming from. He hasn't killed anybody yet that I'm aware of, so I'll listen. I'd like to ask him what he's going through, and God forgives, and that there's never too late to change some things, some directions that you're taking. But that's neither here nor there. I went a little deep there. The point of this is that people are being very hypocritical when it comes to stars like Giannis and Joker. You know what I mean? And Joker. But specifically, this video is about Giannis. Now, to give you full disclosure, I've always been a fan of Giannis. I watched him become better. I've listened to his interviews. I listened to his story about how he came up. I've been to Greece, and I love Greece. It's my favorite place on earth. My honeymoon was actually in Greece, and I miss it so much. I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the food. We went to Santorini. I just love the entire environment. I lived like a king out there. We got a house on top of a mountain. I'm overlooking it. We're getting breakfast every morning. We rent this little car where you could travel through the whole island in like an hour or two. And man, we just had such a good time, me and my wife. It was just a beautiful experience. But when I was there, I saw African people, and Giannis is African. He's originally African, but he migrated to Greece, which is why his name is, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so, he talks about his struggle, the humility of his father, why his family's so tight growing up, the loss of his father, sticking together as a family. Now he's got his own family, immediate family. And I just have so much respect for Giannis, his journey. I really like foreigners too, to some extent, because I feel like they're free from some of the societal nonsense that we deal with if you're just born in the United States of America. For those of you, I know we just got a new listener from Belgium. I forgot what your name is, bro, on here, but shout out to you. We got a guy from Spain, and the guy from Spain, he's been riding with me for a minute. I really appreciate him. Shout out to Pau Gasol and his people over there. But I forgot his name. It starts with an F, so forgive me. I got to learn, people that I communicate with. I got to learn their names better in here. But, sometimes if you're not from the U.S., and for those of you that are in the U.S., when we're outside of the U.S., put some struggles on people, societal pressures that I think are sometimes almost unnatural, and we get so caught up in color and different things like that, and culture, and politically, the United States is big on the politics now. It didn't always used to be this way. When I was coming up, nobody knew anybody's politics. Now it's people wear it on their sleeve, and it's sad because I think it messes up, what could be solid relationships. But Giannis and people like SGA, Joker, they come over here and they don't have those same crutches, those same barriers to happiness that I feel like some of us have over here at times. And so I respect that, and that's why I really like a lot of these guys that come from other places. And I know that each country has its own struggles, but I like to see the freedom they live with. But what's hypocritical that I'm finding over here with some people is that the Giannis's and the Jokers, they act different from the players like LeBron James, like Kevin Durant, who in my opinion, there's an entitlement that they have that I don't really connect with. And if you listen to my channel, I'm not a big proponent or a big advocate for LeBron, and I'm also not a very big advocate for Kevin Durant. That doesn't mean they're not great players. That doesn't mean that they're bad men. But there's certain things about them that I just don't appreciate personally. And one of those things is the super teaming. I think it's cowardly, and I'm not saying they're cowards in every aspect of their life. I'm sure that, obviously they take chances and take risk and are strong men in their daily lives. But on the basketball court, there's things that they've done that I deem cowardly, that I don't appreciate. Now, who am I to tell them what I appreciate and what I don't? They don't owe me anything. They don't care what I say, probably. So I'm just giving my opinion. And from somebody looking in to the NBA as a fan, I personally, from my fandom, did not appreciate that. The Miami, and then back to the Cavs, and then over to the Lakers. The Lakers are my team, and I don't like LeBron being there personally because I don't like the energy that he brings. I don't like what Kevin Durant did to the Suns. Devin Booker is one of the players that I follow the most. He's a Kobe guy. I'm a Kobe guy. And I just don't like what it's done to Devin Booker's career, in my opinion. I think that Devin Booker was on track to be one of the next up-and-coming stars, and now he's just putting up pointless numbers because he got sucked into whatever KD was doing. And I don't like that. And I think KD is just running around the league looking for easy wins and not, you have to develop as a full player. You have to become a leader. Like, you have to find your own way to the mountaintop. And then if you're truly that great, then you'll never get knocked off of it. Not easily, at least. And even if you're a great player that never wins a championship, I still have a lot of respect for Allen Iverson. I have a lot of respect for Charles Barkley. I have a lot of respect for Karl Malone and John Stockton. Reggie Miller, because they fought till they couldn't fight anymore. Patrick Ewing, right? These guys never won chips, but they're still some of the best players that's ever played. Tracy McGrady, Carmelo Anthony. They gave it everything they had. Vince Carter. They still have my respect. But when you're running around chasing championships, I lose respect for people that do that. I lose James Harden. I used to be a big proponent of James Harden, a big supporter of James Harden. Then he started running around the league taking shortcuts, and he just fell off. just running around quitting. I don't love what I've seen from Russ recently, even with that, but I think Russ is a real one, and there's a toughness to Russ that I'll always appreciate, and he plays so hard that I guess I make an exception for him, But Russ ruined his career when he ran over to the Lakers. They ruined him. He hasn't been the same. We haven't looked at him the same way since, and that just kind of falls in line with the super team idea. So why I'm saying in this title that people are hypocritical is because with Giannis, I'm seeing people that have problems with LeBron and with KD and with these guys simping out for, and excuse me, let me not say simping out. That's a strong word. Apologize, Kevin Durant and LeBron James. I apologize. But just, bowing down to the fact that you guys seemingly, I'm not you, so I don't 100% know, but seemingly have not enough confidence in your own games to stand on your own 2 feet and be two of the best players that's ever played by showing that and fighting. Maybe with some, even if you went to a different team, the way you guys have done it has clearly been super team chasing. You clearly want easy victories, and you still haven't even gotten those easy victories because karma, I guess, is a thing. I don't know. Maybe God is trying to teach you guys a lesson that you need to learn, that you need to fight hard like the greats before you. But you guys tried to take shortcuts. But what bothers me is people need to keep the same energy. If you're going to badmouth LeBron James and Kevin Durant for the super teaming, or James Harden for the super teaming, then why would you turn around? And I'm seeing people now say, oh, Joker and Giannis should play together. What? Why would you say that? The point of basketball is for competitive balance, to be the best. You don't join the best to prove you're the best. LeBron and KD never proved to me that they are unequivocally the best players on the planet. Despite what people tell you in the media, they've never proven it to me. And again, if I'm a nobody, I guess I'm a nobody. But I haven't seen it because instead of being the absolute best, they joined the absolute best and then front ran as the absolute best. However, Joker and Giannis did not do that. Giannis won a ring on his own strength in his own city with his own 2 hands. The foreigner did it himself. Joker, the foreigner who likes horses, who seemingly doesn't care about basketball at times. If you've seen some of the guys on Instagram, this one guy, I forgot his name, does a great job of it. He has like his wife talking to him like, you have to get up and go to work. We need to make the money. And he's like, I guess I need to make the money. I'm not even trying and I get triple double. It easy for me. It's funny. You have to check it out. I got to figure out what the guy's name is. But these guys did it on their own strength, their own greatness. They are clearly, at least in the years that they won, clearly the best players in the league. And they have been top 3 in MVP voting since they both won a championship. Top 3, top 4, at worst, maybe top 5, I guess, but they've been that way for years, both of them. Now SGA is entering that of the foreigner that's about to win a ring, and I actually think he's going to take it further than them because he really built a team, and his team from the ground up, they're going to be together for a while. And those guys have a lot of room to grow. When Giannis won, Holiday was already, I guess, at his apex. Middleton was at his apex, but Middleton has seemed to have fallen off, and they traded him for Kyle Kuzma, who's fallen off a cliff. My goodness. And in Joker's case, I feel bad for him. I do, because they lost a lot of players. Jamal Murray is nice in my opinion. He's people will try to make fun of him, but when he's healthy and he's playing, he's a baller. His game is what it is. And he steps up in big moments. He's better in the big moments than I did a video. Check out my video on Jamal Murray. He's better in the big moments than he is in the little ones. Most people are good in the little ones and suck in the big ones. That sounds crazy diabolical. Let me Pause. No Diddy, no Baby Oil, no Cassie, no Bad Boy, no 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 Danity Kane, no Day 26 on that. No Black Rob. For those of you that don't know some of those people, Google it. Some good music. Diddy messed them all over, because that's what he does apparently. But you know, you have to build your own stuff. And I know I still haven't gone over this graphic yet. I've been talking. We're already 15 minutes into the video as I'm looking here. It says, I'm rooting for good basketball, and I hope to be back soon with the Bucks. And that's what I want to hear from Giannis. If Giannis never wins another ring in his life, I will still be proud of him because he did it at least once by himself. I have more respect for Hakeem Olajuwon's 2 rings than I have for basically most of LeBron or KD's rings. And again, to me, if they heard this, they'd be like, you're a nobody, you ain't got no money, blah, blah, blah. You're right. I don't got millions. I'm a nobody on a podcast trying to build it from scratch with solid basketball knowledge and talking points. But for those of you that are more like me, there's more people like me than there are LeBron and KD. More of us are more like Giannis, where we have to fight for everything that we get. There's no shortcuts for us. When you're going through financial struggles, when you're trying to do the best by your kids, by your family, when people in your family are sick, when you're trying to support more people than yourself on one job, when you lose your job and you're trying to figure it out. That's why we relate to what Giannis did and what Joker did. We can't just join up with a super squad and make millions so that we could take easy routes like LeBron and KD. And they don't get that. In their minds, in their world, that doesn't make sense. But we relate to these guys, man, or we don't. I saw something that said, and maybe I'll do a video on this at some point, that the people that are the biggest fans are actually the people with the lowest IQ. I saw something like that. And so I say that to say there should be a balance where you could be a fan, but you should be looking for a guy that you can relate to. Most people that are LeBron and Kevin Durant fans, I don't know how much you guys can relate to people like that. And that's just in my opinion, at least where they are now. I can still relate to Giannis. I can still relate to Joker, even though they're not even from this country. I'm not even the same color as Joker, and I relate to him, and I respect him, and I appreciate him. I appreciate what he brings to the game. You know what I mean? So I get upset when I see these hypocrites that if you're going to bash LeBron, if you're going to bash KD, then it needs to be 24/7. And I know that sounds messed up, but what I mean is keep that same energy with everybody. You're going to bash them for joining super teams. I'm all for that. I bash them for joining super teams. But you can't bash them for joining super teams and then turn around and be like, oh, I want Giannis to play with Joker. I want Giannis to join Steph on the Warriors. I want Giannis to join Wemby, you know, like on the Spurs. What are we talking about here, man? Like, what are we talking about? But even so, if you're going to say like one player join another player, I guess, but it's crazy to me when elite players join elite players out the blue. You know what I mean? That dang near even play the same position. That's where it starts getting crazy to me. But when you join a super team, that's wild. If LeBron would have just joined Dwayne Wade, I still would have had a problem with that, because just based on ranking, you're like the top 5 players in the world on the same team. 2 of the top 5 on the same team. At that time, it was like Kobe, Wade, Bron, and Dwight Howard. For any 2 of those guys to be on the same team is crazy. Likewise, you take Giannis and you put him on the same team as Joker, that's wild, bro. They're top 5 in MVP voting every year. But because of the stature and the status of KD, Bron, Steph. It's still weird if you just run and join one of those guys, in my opinion. And maybe I sound crazy saying that, but I think you lose something if you join a guy that good. If you just run across and just go join a guy like that. And people will say, well, what about the Celtics back in the day? Like the Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. The Celtics drafted him. Magic and Kareem. The Lakers drafted Magic. Kareem went to the Lakers when they didn't have nobody really. And Magic came along. What about Kobe and Shaq? The Lakers drafted Kobe. Shaq was already there. He went there because he wanted to go there. And I know some of you may say, oh, you're nitpicking, but yo, it's a different mentality when you as a great player do everything in your power to go join another great player. That's a top 5 player. You know what I mean? And you're a top 5 player or something like that. Or even top 10 gets a little shady. Gets a little weird. You know? But I could deal with you joining one guy. But when you're both top 5, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because then ultimately, did you win a ring because you're really that good? Or did you win a ring because you stacked the deck? And I always have an issue with that. Deck stacking for me is horrible. I hate it. I don't like it. I didn't like it when the Celtics did it with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. But the only difference that I'll say in that still wasn't great. I'm a Laker fan. Without that team, Kobe wins 3 straight, probably. But one thing I'll say, as far as like that, I mean, they didn't, as far as they say, they didn't call each other up and make that happen. Danny Ainge was a masterful player with the trades. And at least they had to give up some stuff to gain some stuff. They had Al Jefferson, who is one of the better post players I've seen in the last 20 years, to be honest with you. He's a low-key, amazing post player. People that really follow the game will admit that. They traded him for Kevin Garnett. He was younger, probably averaging more points per game at the time, if you look it up. Somebody can fact check me on that. So they thought they were winning by doing that. The Wolves at the time. But it wasn't the same as just calling up your friends and just straight up leaving in free agency, man. Like it's a different thing. But ultimately, I know I'm talking about a lot of different things in this video. I went from here to there to there to tell this whole story about how we're falling back on this title of hypocrites want Giannis to leave. And they do. And the primary thing that I need you to understand, if you don't understand anything else about this video, everybody should keep the same energy. You cannot bash Kevin Durant and LeBron James and James Harden and Russell Westbrook and any of these guys that seemingly ran to these super teams. Okay? You can't bash them for taking shortcuts and then turn around, be a Giannis or a Joker fan, and say, oh, they need to team up. And yes, if Giannis went to the Nuggets, it's still a freaking super team, man. They got Murray. They got Aaron Gordon. They got MPJ. And regardless if those guys played good or not recently, those are high-level players. All of them are making like $100 million or close to it. You don't give $100 million to bums most of the time, unless it's Rudy Gobert. Like, how many good players do you need to win a championship? Does it feel the same when you do it that way? Was the Miami Heat supposed to lose? Were the Golden State Warriors with KD supposed to lose? No. Where's the fun in that? Where's the competitive spirit in that? So, if you're one of those people out there that, again, and it even makes me ask this question. Why do you dislike LeBron so much if you're okay with somebody else doing exactly what he did and glorifying them for that? To that extent, I've got to jump on LeBron's team and go against you. Because how does that make sense? How can you bash LeBron James for doing something that you want somebody else to do? Do you just hate LeBron at that point? And I can't believe that's coming out of my mouth. Pause no diddy on that. That's a diabolical statement. I can't believe it. I hate when people say, hater, you're hating on LeBron. You're hating on... Me telling the truth about LeBron, or anybody telling the truth about LeBron or giving their honest opinion, is not hate. If you can back it up and support it with facts, it's not hate. It's just truth. Now, can people take it too far? I'm sure they can. I try to not take it too far. But I try to be as honest as I possibly can. But if you're bashing LeBron for something and giving somebody else the green light to do the exact same thing, the question then does become, why do you potentially hate LeBron James? Why do you hate LeBron James? And so that's a question that I think needs to be answered. So as you're listening to this video, a couple things to keep in mind. Do you think Giannis should just go join a super team and be like everybody else? Or do you think he should build upon what he already did, which is win a championship? We saw what happened to Dwayne Wade. Nobody talks about Dwayne Wade anymore. Not the way they should. Because he jumped on a super team and took a back seat, and he disappeared from that GOAT conversation. Could have been one of them. He has 3 rings, but nobody cares because he ruined his career by joining a super team. LeBron has 4 rings, but those of us that really know, we know he was on super teams. There should be an asterisk next to most of them, if not all of them. All right? Same thing with Kevin Durant. We know how he got those rings. Wasn't because he did anything unbelievably special. By himself, at least. Yeah, he was better than LeBron in the finals when he had Steph Curry next to him, who's also one of the greatest players of all time. Changed the game forever. When you have a guy that could change the game forever next to you, yeah, you could be the baddest man on the planet. But without Steph, what are you? You're ruining Devin Booker. That's what you're doing without him. You know? So, you know, we got to ask ourselves, are we letting these hypocrites get away with murder out here? Are we going to tolerate them telling Giannis to go join Joker or Joker to go join Giannis? And the other thing is, for those of you that are hypocritically saying stuff like that, but don't like LeBron and don't like KD, what exactly do you not like about them? If you're willing to say, okay, I don't like that they did it, but I'm going to let somebody else do it. You're a hypocrite. So I ask, why do you hate LeBron? Why do you hate KD? Because it must be beyond just regular basketball talk. There must be some real deep-rooted hate. And I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's very weird to me that you would get on them for doing that and praise somebody else for doing the exact same thing. So with that said, thank you for listening this long. I appreciate it. We'll see how this video does. I don't know. There's a lot going on here, but I got into it and I took it in the direction of what I felt, you know. So I just went with what I felt. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for listening this long. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Make sure that you comment. Definitely want to have conversations about this. Should Giannis join super teams? Should he stay the way he's been? Should he stay on his own too? He even said, like, we did it the right way. So you want Giannis to be a hypocrite and do it the wrong way? I don't want that for him. And, you know, do these people really actually maybe hate LeBron James and Kevin Durant? Because you would, you know, encourage somebody else to do the same thing that you hate that they did is weird. So we'll see. Hang on, because there's some other suggested videos at the end of this one that we know you'll love. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our exquisite content. Thank you very much for listening. I really, truly appreciate you. I'm very humble. Much love. Tell that somehow you'll never get over leaving me. And when you feel like